everybody. Today we're going to be performing an experiment where we produce hydrogen gas. And we'll do this by blowing up a balloon. First, the materials that we'll need for this scientific experiment are the following. Sodium hydroxide pellets, which we have right here in our glass beaker. Some aluminum foil, a balloon, a glass bottle that a balloon can fit around the top of, and some water. We'll first start off this reaction by adding water into our glass bottle. Now we're going to add in our sodium hydroxide pellets. Now I'd like you to think about for a minute, if our reactants are sodium hydroxide, water, and aluminum foil, what can you predict that the products might be of this reaction? If you already know that it's also producing hydrogen gas. Now also remember, when you're dealing with chemicals that are concentrated like sodium hydroxide, you should always also be wearing proper PPE, which would be gloves and also long sleeves to protect your skin. So now we're just going to take a minute to mix the sodium hydroxide into the water. Okay, so now we have dissolved our sodium hydroxide into our water. And now we're going to add our pieces of our aluminum foil. So I'm just going to tear these up, put in some pieces of aluminum foil. And I'm just kind of wadding up the pieces of aluminum foil and putting them into our sodium hydroxide solution. So what you probably can't see yet in this picture, but we'll see with the balloon, is that as I've been adding in the sodium hydroxide with the aluminum foil, I'm starting to now see that there are bubbles coming off of the aluminum foil into the water. And that's the production of hydrogen gas. And so we've attached our balloon, and let's see how long it takes for the balloon to begin inflating with our hydrogen gas. Now, what I've noticed from this reaction is my bottle feels a little warm. If the bottle feels warm, do you think that that is an endothermic or an exothermic reaction that we have right here, right now? And so now, hopefully you can start to see that our balloon is beginning to inflate more and more noticeably. So I think our reaction might be slowing down now. It appears as though the aluminum foil has dissolved into our sodium hydroxide solution. And you might be able to see now that it's a dark gray color in the bottom of our bottle. And it no longer appears to be bubbling as much, which indicates that maybe our gas production isn't happening as much anymore. So our reaction might be towards its end. So now I'm going to tie off our balloon. Very tightly and securely so we don't lose our hydrogen gas. Whew. Okay, so now we have our hydrogen balloon. Now, it doesn't have enough gas in it, I guess, to float right now, like in some experiments. But what people normally do, like a helium balloon, it's not floating. So I'd also like you to think about what's the difference between what a helium balloon is that you normally buy in the grocery store or in a party store and a hydrogen balloon. What do you think the difference is in the types of gases that are there? And maybe even in their reactivity. Okay, so we have our hydrogen balloon right here, And you probably figured out by now that there's a difference between hydrogen and helium. Helium is a noble gas, which means that it's not reactive, but hydrogen is not a noble gas, which means that it is reactive. So let's see what happens when we add a little heat to this balloon. Whoa, that's big. So now you can see that it just exploded. And so there's clearly a difference between hydrogen and helium because you wouldn't have a balloon like that at a birthday party. In conclusion, we've learned about the experiment with having our reactants and what the reactants create products and that they create hydrogen gas at the end of the experiment. And that this experiment is also considered to be an exothermic reaction, meaning that the products have less energy than the reactants, and that excess energy is released in the form of heat, which is why our bottle was warm when we were creating the hydrogen gas. And finally, that hydrogen is an explosive gas and is reactive, and that when you add a source of kinetic energy, like heat, that creates an explosive combustion reaction. So thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time, we'll see you later.